Okay, I have to be honest with you. When I first looked at the title of the material we are covering today, I was a little, well, I was confused.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were accidentally reviewing a heavy metal album from the 80s. Maybe something by, I don't know, Slayer or Iron Maiden?
I can see why. The title definitely has a certain intensity to it.
Right. The divine and the demoniac.
It's very dramatic.
It sounds like there should be pyrotechnics going off in the background, maybe some electric guitars, a dragon or two flying around.
Absolutely.
But then I started reading the actual source material, chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, and I realized, wait a minute.
It's not quite that.
Not at all. This isn't fantasy. This isn't about literal monsters with horns and pitchforks hiding under the bed.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Well, it felt like I was reading a psychological profile of my old boss.
That is a very common reaction.
And maybe, if I'm being totally honest, a little bit of myself on a bad day.
It is startlingly accurate, isn't it? That is usually the reaction people have when they really sit with this text. It's unnerving. It's basically one of the earliest and most brutally honest personality assessments in human history. You know how everyone is obsessed with the Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram these days?
Sure, we love to categorize ourselves.
Oh, I'm an INFJ, or I'm a type 3 wing 4.
I love the labels.
Exactly. We love the categories. But this feels different. It's not asking if you're an introvert or an extrovert.
No.
It's asking if you are operating from a place that liberates you or a place that traps you. It feels like a vibe check for the human soul.
That is exactly the right way to frame this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're looking at the Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga.
That's the Sanskrit.
That's the Sanskrit title of the chapter. It translates to the division of the divine and demoniac natures.
Okay.
And you hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter isn't about spooky spirits or external entities haunting a house.
Not The Exorcist, then.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It is a psychological breakdown. The text uses the word sampat,
Sampat.
which refers to wealth or assets. But in this context, it's not about your bank account.
Right.
It means your internal wealth, your nature, your mindset.
So just to be super clear for everyone listening, because demoniac is a really loaded word.
It is.
We aren't talking about possession. We aren't talking about some kind of supernatural evil.
Not at all. We are talking about mindsets. We are talking about the traits that lead to freedom versus the traits that lead to bondage.
Okay, so the mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We have a massive stack of notes here based on chapter 16, including some really fascinating commentary on specific Sanskrit terms that define these two natures.
All to unpack.
A lot. We're going to unpack the 26 traits that make up the divine mindset. The green flags, if you will.
The green flags, I like that.
And then we're going to get into the demoniac behaviors.
And that is where it gets uncomfortable.
Oh, totally. Because the goal here isn't just to point fingers at bad people in history.
No, that's too easy.
It's so easy to look at this list and say, oh yeah, that's Hitler, or that's Bernie Madoff. But the challenge, as I understand it from the reading, is to recognize these patterns in ourselves.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the 3 gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed, and why this ancient text considers them the root of all self-destruction.
Precisely. It's an audit, a spiritual and psychological audit.
I love that, the divine audit. Okay, let's jump right into this. The source text opens up with what I'm calling the ideal mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It lists 26 specific traits. It's like a checklist for being a decent human being. But here is the thing that threw me off immediately.
What's that?
The order. You know how in most lists like this, the first thing is usually love or truth or something very soft and fuzzy?
Yes, you'd expect something like compassion to lead the charge.
Exactly. But the very first trait mentioned here, verse 1, word 1, is abhanam, fearlessness.
Yes, alayam. It comes first for a reason.
Why start there? I mean, really, if I'm trying to be a divine person, wouldn't kindness be the starter? Fearlessness sounds like something you need for a battlefield or maybe for extreme sports.
It does sound aggressive on the surface.
Yeah. Why is it the foundation of a spiritual life?
It is a profound choice, and it trips a lot of people up. But think about it this way. If you look at the commentary in the source material, apayam implies a complete absence of fear.
Okay.
But why is it first? Well, let me ask you this. Can you actually practice any of the other virtues, truthfulness, kindness, charity, if you are ruled by fear?
I guess. Well, I'll take truthfulness.
Okay.
If I'm afraid of the consequences, I'm probably not going to tell the truth. I'll tell a little white lie to avoid getting in trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fear is the inhibitor of all other virtues. If you are afraid of losing your job, you might not speak up when you see something unethical happening at work.
No way. You keep your head down.
If you are afraid of scarcity, of not having enough money, can you really be charitable? Genuinely charitable?
Probably not. You'd be hoarding. You'd be thinking about your own security first.
Right. You'd be tight-fisted. If you are afraid of conflict, you cannot stand for righteousness. You'll just go along to get along.
You become a bystander.
Fear makes us compromise our values. So, to establish a divine nature, the foundation must be a state of fearlessness. You have to feel secure enough to be good.
That's a really interesting point. It reframes the whole idea. It reminds me of that saying, integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. But maybe it's also integrity is doing the right thing even when you're scared of the blowback.
Yes, but there is a nuance in the source text that I find fascinating, and it corrects a very common modern misunderstanding of what fearless means.
Okay.
The text notes that fearlessness doesn't just mean I am brave or I can jump out of a plane. It also implies not causing fear in others.
Whoa. Okay, wait, let's unpack that.
It's a huge distinction.
Because I think in modern culture, especially in the corporate world, we often confuse fearlessness with dominance. We think of the alpha leader, the Steve Jobs type, maybe, who scares everyone else into submission. We call that strong leadership.
Tough but fair, they'll say.
Right. But the text is saying that's actually the opposite of the divine.
Correct. Intimidation is not a payam. If you have to scare people to get them to respect you, that is actually a sign of your own insecurity.
Oh, that's a twist.
You are projecting fear because you are afraid of losing control. The text later contrasts this with the demoniac nature, which relies on harshness.
I see.
But here, apayam suggests a kind of psychological safety. If you are a leader or a parent or a partner, are you a source of security or are you a source of anxiety?
That is such a crucial distinction. It's the difference between the boss who walks into the room and everyone stiffens up checking their phones, terrified to make eye contact,
Everyone tenses up.
versus the boss who walks in and everyone relaxes because they know they have cover. They know it's safe, to be honest.
Exactly. A truly fearless person doesn't need to intimidate anyone. They are secure in themselves. Their presence makes you feel braver. That is the divine quality.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But can I push back on this for a second?
Please.
Is total fearlessness actually good? I mean, fear is useful. It's a survival mechanism.
Of course.
It keeps us from touching a hot stove. It keeps us from betting our life savings on some crypto scam we saw on the internet. If we have zero fear, don't we just become reckless?
That is a fair question, and it's an important one. The Gita isn't talking about the biological fight or flight response that keeps you from walking off a cliff.
Okay.
That is instinct. Abham refers to psychological fear, the anxiety about the future, the fear of status loss, the fear of death, the fear of what will people think.
The social fears.
That is the fear that paralyzes our moral compass. The text isn't saying, don't look both ways before crossing the street. It's saying, don't let the fear of what might happen tomorrow prevent you from doing what is right today.
Okay, I buy that. It's about not living in a state of chronic anxiety and worry.
Exactly. It's freedom from that constant low-level hum of dread that so many of us live with.
So once you have that foundation of fearlessness, the list goes on. And there's a pairing here that I really liked. Dhamma and Dana.
Dhamma and Dana.
Self-restraint and charity. They rhyme, which helps me remember them.
They do go hand in hand. It's not a coincidence they're listed together. Dhamma is control over the sense of self-restraint.
And Dana is the act of giving.
Yes.
So why do they need to be paired? Why not just have charity on its own? Be charitable seems like good enough advice.
Well, think about the logistics of it. To be truly charitable, to really practice Dana, you must have some level of self-restraint, of Dhamma.
How so?
If you consume everything you earn, if you are entirely focused on your own gratification, what is left to give?
That's true. If I spend my whole paycheck on the newest iPhone, expensive dinners, and a dozen streaming subscriptions, I literally don't have the resources to help anyone else.
It's not just money, it's time and energy too. If you have no restraint over your own schedule, if you are constantly chasing entertainment or distraction, you have no time to volunteer.
You have no time to listen to a friend who is hurting.
Exactly. Dhamma is the discipline that creates the surplus.
The surplus of resources.
The resources, time, energy, attention. It creates the space in your life that you can then give away via Dana.
So Dhamma is saying no to yourself sometimes so you can say yes to helping someone else.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it goes deeper. Dhamma, or self-restraint, isn't just about saving money. It's about emotional regulation.
Oh, right.
It's about not vomiting your immediate reaction onto everyone around you, which links to another key trait listed, akrita.
Akrita, absence of anger.
Now look closely at the definition in the source. It's not just managing anger, it's not counting to 10. It is a state where anger doesn't even arise to begin with.
Okay, hold on. That sounds impossible. I mean, have you seen rush hour traffic? Have you been on Twitter?
It's a high bar, certainly.
Anger is the default setting of the modern world. Are you saying a divine person never gets mad?
It is a very high bar. But let's look at what the text implies. Why do we get angry?
Because someone cut me off. Because my internet is slow.
Usually it's because our expectations weren't met. We feel entitled to a smooth drive, so traffic makes us mad. We feel entitled to agreement, so a contrary tweet makes us mad.
I feel seen.
Akira points to a change in perspective. If you don't see the world as something that is supposed to serve you, if you don't take everything personally, anger arises less frequently.
So it's not about suppressing the anger, like bottling it up until you explode. It's about not generating it in the first place.
Right. Suppression is unhealthy. That's a pressure cooker. Akira is transcendence. It's changing the conditions so the steam isn't even created.
That's a huge shift.
And it pairs with ahimsa, nonviolence, and satam, truth. The commentary makes a really interesting point about truth here.
Okay.
We usually think truth just means not lying.
I did not eat the cookie.
Right. Simple factual accuracy. But the Gita adds a qualifier. It says truth must be agreeable and beneficial. It is truth devoid of anger.
That's huge. Because how many times have we heard someone say, I'm just being honest, right before they say something incredibly hurtful?
Exactly. The brutal honesty crowd.
Or, I'm just keeping it real. No, you're just being mean. You're using honesty as a shield for your cruelty.
The Gita would argue that if it is brutal, it is not satyam in the divine sense. If you use truth as a weapon to hurt someone, you are slipping out of the divine nature.
So truth has a purpose.
The purpose of truth is to elevate, not to destroy.
Man, that is a tough one to swallow for a lot of us. We love to be right. But this is saying being right isn't enough if you're also being a jerk.
Essentially, yes. The how matters just as much as the what.
There are a couple of other traits here that I want to highlight because they feel like the absolute opposite of our modern hustle culture.
I think I know which ones you mean.
The text lists aluptavam, which means absence of greed or avarice, and mardavam, which means gentleness.
Yes. Gentleness. A gotten virtue.
I feel like if you put gentleness on your resume today, especially in finance or tech, people would look at you like you're weak.
They would.
We're obsessed with crushing it, dominating the market, having a killer instinct.
We use violent language for success. We kill the competition. We target audience segments. Our whole business vocabulary is militaristic.
Right. So is the Gita saying we shouldn't be ambitious? Is it saying we should just be doormats and let everyone walk all over us?
Not at all. Remember, the entire setting of the Gita is a battlefield. Arjuna's a warrior. He's not being asked to be a pacifist doormat.
Good point.
But the text argues that these soft traits, gentleness, absence of frantic desire, are what lead to mental liberation. The source material emphasizes that these traits liberate the mind from stress.
How so?
Think about the mental load of the hustle, the constant scanning for more, the aggression, the need to dominate every interaction. It is exhausting.
Oh, it's total burnout material. I've lived it. It's a constant state of anxiety.
It is a form of bondage. You are a slave to the outcome, to the next quarter's results, to the next promotion. Aluptavam, not being greedy, is actually a stress reliever.
So aluptavam isn't just don't steal, it's don't be desperate.
It is freedom. If you are content, you are free. If you constantly need more, you are a slave to the next acquisition. This divine audit isn't just about being a good boy or good girl for God.
No.
It's a prescription for mental peace. It's telling you, do you want to sleep well at night? Try gentleness. Try fearlessness.
That is a great segue because now we have to look at the other side of the coin. If the divine mindset is about mental peace, the demoniac mindset is, well, it sounds like a mental breakdown waiting to happen.
It often is.
Segment 2, the demoniac mindset, or as I like to call it, the ego unchecked.
This is where the text gets very, very descriptive.
Yeah.
The Sanskrit term is Daivasura Sampat.
And again, just to clarify for everyone who might have just tuned in, when we say demoniac or Azura, we aren't talking about red skin and horns.
No.
We aren't talking about horror movies.
No. The source commentary clarifies this perfectly. It says, these traits are about narcissism and ignorance.
Narcissism and ignorance. Okay.
It's a specific psychological profile characterized by arrogance, pride, and a harsh view of the world.
Okay, I have the list from verse 4 right here. arrogance, pretentious pride, which is translated from damba, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance.
Dhamma is a particularly interesting word. We don't have a perfect English equivalent.
Pretentious pride, it's a mouthful.
It implies hypocrisy. It's acting religious or virtuous specifically for the sake of reputation.
Oh, so virtue signaling.
Yes, exactly. It's the person who donates to charity but makes sure the press release goes out first.
It's the influencer who films themselves giving a homeless person a sandwich.
That's a perfect modern example.
Ugh, that makes my skin crawl.
That reaction you feel, that's your intuition, recognizing Dhamma. It's performative goodness. The act might be good, but the intention is rotten.
I think I dated this person.
I think we all have.
Or at least I definitely work for this guy. You know the type, they have the perfect public image. They speak at all the conferences about mindfulness and conscious leadership.
Oh, yes. The LinkedIn posts are impeccable.
Impeccable. But behind closed doors, they are screaming at the intern for getting the coffee order wrong.
That is exactly the demoniac nature described here. The text says they judge people by external appearance and position. There is no depth to their connection with others.
So everyone is an object.
Everyone is an object to be used or an obstacle to be removed.
The source material actually gives us a script. It's like the internal monologue of the demoniac person.
Yes, this is chilling.
I want to read this because it is so modern. This is from verses 13 through 15. The text says, this is what they think to themselves.
They're on self-talk.
I earned this wealth today.
Okay.
I will satisfy all my desires.
All of them.
I will destroy my enemies.
Not just beat them. Destroy them.
I am the Lord.
There it is.
I am successful. I am strong. And then my favorite. Who is equal to me?
It is the ultimate anthem of the ego. It's breathtaking in its arrogance.
It sounds like a tech mogul's biography. I did this. I am the Lord. Or hip-hop track. I'm the best. I'm the king.
It certainly resonates with a lot of pop culture. But let's look at why the Gita considers this demoniac. It's not just confidence. Confidence is good.
Right.
I can do this. It's healthy. I did this all by myself. Is the delusion.
The self-made myth.
Exactly. The text critiques this sharply. It says they are deluded by ignorance. Why?
Why?
Because they ignore the system, the community, the luck, the timing, or the divine, whatever you want to call it, that allowed them to succeed.
They see none of that.
No one succeeds in a vacuum. But the demoniac mindset says, no, I made this happen. I am the sole author of my universe.
And if you believe you are the sole author, then you believe you don't owe anyone anything. You're not grateful to anyone.
Correct. And because they believe they did it all alone, they believe they have the right to do whatever they want. The text explicitly says they think, I am the Lord, Ishvarham. That is the God complex right there.
But wait, play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
We live in a competitive world. If you don't believe in yourself, you don't have that internal voice that says, I am strong, I am successful, won't you get crushed? Is the Gita telling us to be insecure?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. There is a difference between self-efficacy, knowing you have skills, knowing you can accomplish things, and this kind of toxic arrogance.
Okay, where's the line?
The key line in that monologue is, I will destroy my enemies.
Not just, I will win.
It's the zero-sum thinking. It's not enough for me to succeed. Others must fail. The source material notes that they become obsessed with destroying competitors. It's a deeply aggressive posture towards the world.
It's toxic ambition. It's that mindset of, I'm the main character of reality and everyone else is just an NPC, non-player character.
Main character syndrome is a very apt modern analogy for the Asura nature.
That's a huge thing on social media right now.
It is. And if you believe you are the only one who really matters, then rules, ethics, and empathy are just inconveniences. They're things that stop you from getting what you want.
But where does this come from? Is it just being a jerk, or is there a deeper philosophy behind it? Because the notes mention something about their worldview in segment 3 that seems darker than just, I want money.
Yes, this is the philosophical root of the behavior. It's not just bad manners, it's bad philosophy. Verse 8 describes their view of the world. They say the world is unreal, asatyam, without foundation, apratastham, and godless, anishvaram.
Unreal and without foundation. That sounds like nihilism.
It is a form of aggressive nihilism. The text says they believe the world is caused only by lustful coexistence.
Lustful coexistence. What does that mean? It sounds like a bad romance novel.
It basically means the biological argument. They believe that biology, sex drive, and chemical reactions are the only creative forces. There is no higher purpose. There is no moral order.
No karma.
No karma, no cosmic justice. It's just atoms banging into each other. We are born, we have sex, we die, lights out. The end.
Okay, so this is strict materialism, a purely physical explanation for everything.
Yep.
But hold on. Lots of people are materialists or atheists, and they are perfectly nice people. They volunteer, they're kind to their neighbors, they don't go around destroying enemies.
Right.
So why does the Gita say this worldview leads to being a demon? That feels like a bit of a leap.
That is a critical nuance. Thank you for bringing that up. It's
Yeah.
not just doubting God. Many people have sincere philosophical doubts and wonderful humans.
Yeah.
It's the combination of that doubt with selfishness. It's the worldview plus the ego. If you believe the world has no meaning and you are driven by an insatiable ego, then what is the logical conclusion?
I guess. If nothing matters, then the only thing that matters is my pleasure, my experience.
Precisely. If there is no deeper meaning, the only logical goal is maximizing sensory pleasure, or kama.
Okay.
If the world is a lie, if it's just a random chaotic mess, then I can exploit it. I can use people, I can destroy nature, I can cheat, because none of it counts.
There's no judge.
There is no judge, there's no consequence after death, so why not take everything I can right now?
That is a dark but logical step. If you strip the world of sacredness, you strip it of protection. Might makes right.
And the text spells out the consequence in verse 9. It calls them lost souls of small intellect.
Ouch.
It says they engage in cruel deeds for the destruction of the world.
Destruction of the world. That feels incredibly relevant to things like environmental destruction or corporate greed.
It does. Think about a corporation that prioritizes this quarter's profit over the long-term survival of the ecosystem. That is the Azuric mindset in action.
It's pure short-term thinking.
It says, I want my gratification profit now. The future doesn't matter. The foundation doesn't matter. The next generation doesn't matter.
It is insatiable desire leading to ruin.
Insatiable. That's the key word. They are never full.
Never.
Which brings us to the mechanism of how this happens.
Yep.
The text breaks it down into a specific trap. Segment 4, the 3 gates to hell.
Verse 21, this is one of the most famous summaries in the entire Gita. It's so concise.
The 3 gates are lust, kama, anger, krodha, and greed. Short, simple, and devastating.
But again, I have to ask, why these 3? Why not lying or stealing or pride? We just talked about pride. Why are these the specific gates to self-destruction?
Because they are the engine. They are the root cause of the lying and stealing. The source commentary explains the chain reaction perfectly. It starts with lust, or desire, kama.
And just to recap, kama doesn't just mean sexual lust.
No, that's a common misunderstanding. Kama is the intense craving for anything. An object, a status, a person, a new car, a certain number of followers online. You want it obsessively. You fixate on it.
Okay, so let's play this out with an example. I want a promotion. I want to be the VP. That's kama.
Right. You are fixated on it. It fills your thoughts. Now, what happens if that desire is blocked? What if someone else gets the job you wanted?
I get mad. I'm furious. I blame the boss for being an idiot. I blame the colleague who got it for sucking up.
Anger. Anger is simply obstructed desire. When reality doesn't match your craving, you lash out. That's the first pivot. But now let's flip it. What happens if you do get the promotion?
Well, I'm happy for, I don't know, a week, maybe a month.
And then?
Then I probably want a raise. Or I'm looking at the senior VP spot. Or I'm annoyed that the office isn't big enough. The high wears off.
Greed. Lubha, greed is the desire that continues even after possession. It's the hoarding instinct. It's the what's next that never stops.
Wow.
So kama, desire, is the starting point. It leads to either krodha, anger, if you fail, or lobha, greed, if you succeed. You are trapped either way.
Man, that is the hedonic treadmill perfectly described thousands of years ago.
Perfectly.
You know, thinking, I'll be happy when I get the car, then you get the car, and 6 months later it's just a car and you need a better one.
Exactly. Verses 11 and 12 describe this vividly. It says they are bound by hundreds of shackles of hope.
Shackles of hope. That is a poetic but terrifying image. We usually think of hope as a good thing. Hope and change. Keep hope alive.
But in this context, hope means expectation. It means being tied to a future outcome. I hope I get this. I hope they like me. I hope I win.
It's an attachment.
You are shackled by these expectations. You are not living in the present. You are a prisoner of a future that hasn't happened yet. And the text says this leads to unclean vows and justifiable use of illegal or unethical means to get wealth.
Right, because if my happiness depends entirely on getting that thing, I'll eventually do anything to get it.
The ends justify the means.
I'll cook the books, I'll lie to my partner, I'll betray my friends, because the desire is driving the bus, not my conscience.
And that is the gate to hell. Not as a place with fire, but as a way of being.
Now, the text gets pretty heavy here. It talks about being cast into demoniac wombs and falling into foul hells.
It does. The language is strong. It's meant to shake you up.
For the listener who might not believe in literal reincarnation or hells, someone who is strictly secular, how should we read this? Is this just a scare tactic to make people behave?
That's a great way to approach it. I suggest looking at hell here as a state of mind. You don't have to wait until you die to go to this hell.
You can be in it right now.
If you are living in a cycle of constant craving, burning anger when you don't get what you want, and insatiable greed when you do, you are already in hell.
That's a good point. I've known people who have everything. Money, fame, power, and they are miserable. They are paranoid, angry, and never satisfied. That is a living hell.
Exactly. Living with constant jealousy and hunger is torture. And the demoniac wombs part, think of it as habit formation, neuroplasticity.
Oh, interesting.
If you cultivate this mindset today, if you practice being angry and greedy all day, you wake up with it tomorrow. You are born into it again and again. You carve those neural pathways so deep that you lose the ability to see the divine.
You dig your own ruts.
You get so wrapped up in the ego that you can't even imagine a different way of living.
You essentially brainwash yourself into misery.
Yes. The text says they eventually lose the ability to reach the divine state because they are so trapped in the cycle. They forget there is even an option to be peaceful.
Okay, that is bleak. The host in me is doing a vibe check, and the vibe is currently doomed.
It's a lot to take in.
I feel like we need a lifeline here. Segment 5, the way out. Please tell me there's an exit door from this cycle.
There is. And the Gita is very generous here. It doesn't leave you in the dark.
The text actually pivots. Right, it doesn't just end on that note.
It does. In verse 5, right at the beginning, Krishna actually stops to comfort Arjuna. He sees that Arjuna is getting worried, probably feeling the same way you are right now.
He's getting overwhelmed.
And Krishna says, "Do not despair, O Pandava. You are born with divine attributes."
I love that moment. It's like, hey, don't panic. You're one of the good ones.
But the broader implication is that we all have the capacity for the divine. It is the default state. The demoniac nature is a corruption, an overlay of dust and dirt.
So it's not who we are at our core.
The divine nature is what's underneath. We don't have to build the divine from scratch. We just have to clear away the junk.
So how do we clear the junk? How do we avoid the 3 gates? If I'm in traffic and I feel the anger rising, what do I do? What's the practical advice?
The text gives a very specific compass in verses 23 and 24. It says, "Let Shastra be your guide."
Shastra. That translates to scripture, right? The holy books.
Yes, traditionally it means the sacred texts.
Okay, playing devil's advocate again. What if our listener isn't religious? What if they don't have a Bible or a Gita or a Quran? What if they are totally secular? Does this advice still hold up, or are they out of luck?
I believe it holds up perfectly. You just have to translate the concept for a modern context.
Okay, how?
The text warns against acting kamakarata, which means acting impulsively, driven by your own desire.
Acting on a whim.
Exactly. The alternative is acting according to Shastra. In a modern secular context, think of Scripture as an external ethical framework.
Okay, so like a code of conduct or philosophy, like Stoicism or something.
Exactly. It represents wisdom that has stood the test of time, that exists outside of your own ego.
Ah, that's the key. Outside the ego.
The problem with the modern advice of follow your heart or trust your gut is that, as we just discussed, your heart might currently be full of greed and anger.
Right. If I'm in the 3 gates mode, my gut is telling me to scream at that guy in traffic. My gut is telling me to embezzle the money. My gut is not a reliable narrator.
Exactly. If your internal compass is magnetized by the ego, it will point you toward a cliff. So you cannot trust your immediate impulse. You need an external standard to check yourself against.
So a sanity check.
It could be a religious text, yes. But it could also be established Stoic philosophy, a strong mentorship, or a rigorous code of professional ethics you believe in.
So you need some principles.
You need something that says, I know you want to do this, but this is the right thing to do. The demoniac mind only knows what I want. The divine mind consults the standard to find what is good.
That's really helpful. It's about accountability to something bigger than your current mood. It's admitting my feelings right now might be wrong.
Which requires humility. And humility is the antidote to the arrogance we discussed earlier. The source notes mention the Ramayana and Mahabharata as examples of these guidelines for gray areas, stories that show us how to navigate complex moral dilemmas.
So don't just wing it. Don't just make it up as you go along based on what feels good.
Do not just wing it. That is where the ego sneaks in. The ego loves to wing it because the ego loves to justify whatever it wants to do in the moment. Oh, it's okay if I cheat just this once because I really deserve it. Shastra, or your ethical framework, says, no, cheating is wrong, period. It holds the line when your impulses want to cross it.
This has been, wow, a lot to process.
It is a dense chapter. It challenges the very way we operate in the world.
It really does. So let's try to summarize this for the listener who is maybe driving home right now or washing dishes.
To bring it all together.
The divine isn't about being a boring saint on a mountain. It's about fearlessness, giving, and truth that doesn't hurt. It's about creating safety for yourself and others.
And the demoniac isn't about being a monster. It's about the unchecked ego. It's the belief that you are the center of the universe, that you are self-made, and that you are entitled to satisfy every single desire.
And the mechanism that traps us is that triad of lust, anger, and greed. The more we feed them, the stronger they get.
Leading to a hellish state of mind, anxiety, paranoia, and constant dissatisfaction.
So here's my final thought for the listener. The chapter ends with this call to follow the rules, the Shastra, rather than impulse.
Externally God.
And we live in a world that is constantly telling us to do the opposite, to manifest our desires, be the boss, do whatever makes you happy.
Yes, the modern mantra is often very similar to the demoniac internal monologue. I am the Lord, I deserve this.
Exactly. So my challenge to you, the listener, is this. In a world that encourages that main character energy, are we accidentally cultivating the very demoniac qualities the Gita warns us about?
That is the question. Are we feeding the traits that bind us or the traits that free us?
So next time you feel the 3 gates opening, you feel that frustration in traffic, that flash of jealousy when a coworker gets praised, that urge to buy something you don't need just to feel better, ask yourself, who is driving the bus right now?
Whose voice is that?
Is it the divine mindset? Or is the demoniac mindset taking the wheel?
And remember, as Krishna said, do not despair. You have the capacity for the divine. It's already there. You just have to choose it.
Beautifully said. Thank you all for diving deep with us today. This was a heavy one, but a good one.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
See you next time.